Welcome to Truman'sTown Hall with your host, Matt Truman.
Hello, this is Matt Truman. Thank you for downloading this episode. Thank you for sharing with a friend. We're back to our weekly episodes. I believe they're going to come out on Saturday. I know this one is coming out on Monday or Tuesday, but I wanted to get one out real quick to let you know we're back. We're back! So download and share with a friend. Has anyone read about the airman, the United States Air Force guy who walked over to the Israeli embassy, poured a Yeti full of gasoline on himself and set himself on fire? Has anybody saw that? Wow. That takes guts. Giant cojones. Second, you might be a little, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Here, let's take a listen. Yeah, that happened. Kind of wild, kind of crazy. Certainly gets a message out there. There's a lot of people talking about it online. I hope it wasn't too much. It's just the audio. And Lord, I don't want you to go out and watch the video. It's not a good one to watch. I mean, this is kind of like back in the day when they would have those beheading videos online and everything. It's just stay away from it, honestly. But I mean, it's America. Do what you want. And if you're listening somewhere else, the borders are open. You can come and be free. Anyway, I digress and I jest. We're back, folks. Truman'sTown Hall. Free Palestine. Free Israel. Free America. How about that? How about let's make America free again? I don't know. Oh, boy. Okay, next story. How about we adjust fire and talk about, no pun intended, and talk about the Houthis knock out underwater cables linking Europe to Asia. That's out of the Jerusalem Post. Yeah, I'm going to go through a couple of headlines, and then we'll get into some clips and different things, and we'll sign off after that. We're an equal opportunity podcast here, so we're going to give you a headline from the Daily Beast. He uncovered a rogue CIA conspiracy, then he was found dead, by Nick Shager, Monday the 26th. I'll give you a little bit on this. I guess this is a Netflix thing? Huh. Conspiracy theories are dangerous in more ways than one. An American conspiracy, the Octopus Murders, is among many, many things. An expose about the irrevocable damage that can come from falling down the rabbit hole. I don't know. You guys can check it out on Netflix, I suppose. Out of the Independent. Boyzone's Shane Lynch accuses Taylor Swift of performing demonic rituals at concerts. Oh my goodness. Do I have a story for you about Boyzone? A lot of Americans are like, who the heck is Boyzone? Nobody knows who Boyzone is. You know what? They were an English band. I'm gonna keep this short. My brother won a contest in 2000 from MTV. MTV flew my brother and I. He chose me to be his buddy there. And we flew to England. We got to see the Mission Impossible 2 premiere in London. Walking down the same red carpet as the stars, the whole kit and caboodle. Then there was an after party. At that after party, Boyzone was there. My brother was cutting it up with Boyzone and said, hey, how come you fellas haven't broke out to America? And they were like, well, I guess we get all of our love here in England. Anyway, that's I have not seen, I'm just thumbing through news, right? News articles, and I see this Boyzone's Shane Lynch. I wonder if that's the same dude my brother was talking to. I don't know, but he calls Taylor Swift satanic. Some would agree with him. Anywho, here's an article out of the Brain Tomorrow. Ketamine reverses antisocial effects of loneliness and isolation. Interesting. Down in Alabama, explosive device detonates outside Alabama Attorney General Steve Marshall's office. That's a headline going around. Here's an interesting headline. Kellogg's CEO let them eat cornflakes for dinner. This is by none other than CNN. Of course, the CEO of a company is going to try to get you to eat cereal. Come on. Lazy journalism. Here's one out of the Telegraph. This is a very important one, and I think we're going to end here and get into some real good stuff. Out of the Telegraph, NATO and EU states considering sending troops to Ukraine. Now, I'm going to read a little bit of this. The Prime Minister of Slovakia has claimed that NATO and EU member states are prepared to deploy troops to Ukraine. Robert Fischio, a pro-Russian populist, offered no details on how Western soldiers could be sent to assist Ukraine, and competitors said he was probably just trying to stir up trouble. He was speaking ahead of a hastily arranged meeting of Europe leaders in Paris because of what his advisors say is an escalation in Russian aggression over the past few weeks. Folks, there is... Let me say this. If NATO sends soldiers into Ukraine, bad news bears. That's World War III right there, right? It's definitely the world against Russia at that point. I don't know if I want to just, play with that a little bit. No. There's a lot of social justice warriors out there on the internet typing on their little computer or their phone saying, yeah, war, yeah, send them weapons. Let's kill more people. What is that? What is that? It's a new phenomenon. It's that old quote that Mike Tyson said. Social media made y'all way too comfortable with disrespecting people not getting punched in the face for it. I have to agree. Because a lot of these people that spout this stuff on social media, even the people you may agree with, right? They say a lot of things that they wouldn't say in person to someone's face because they might get punched in the face for it. You can't fight a war on social media. You can't fight a war with weak liberal politics. You have to fight a war to win. There was somebody I saw the other day who, it was Kid Rock. Kid Rock is getting blasted all over the place because he suggested that a military fighting someone who attacked them. Now, I'm not all in on Israel. Don't get me twisted. If you're attacked, you have to respond to that. And the days of just pussyfooting around trying to win hearts and minds are over. They should be over. Because if they're not, you'll lose that war. Hopefully, our military leaders have learned this. And Kid Rock was explaining that, let's listen to what he said. Good night.
If you lived in Gaza, you would be convinced that it's the end of the world, right? Because it is the end of the world in one place. In that spot, it's the end of the world. But where you are, it's not. And you got to look at it that way. And when I look at it that way, I'm like,
the only wars we won were fucking ones we were the most brutal motherfuckers on the planet. Which I don't disagree with what Israel's doing. It's like they should just go in there and be like, you know what? We want our hostages back. If we don't have them back, clock starts now in fucking 24 hours. We're going to start bombing motherfuckers and killing fucking civilians. 40,000 a fucking time.
Okay. Little extreme. I don't condone that at all. I don't want war. I want peace. Having said that, if we get involved in a war, we have to fight it like that. Because no one understands stop touching me like a good punch in the mouth. A good one. Not a little, please stop, don't do that. That's hearts and minds. Please stop, don't do that, right? But I'll reiterate, I don't want war. I want peace. I want peace with everyone. I don't hate anyone. I don't hate any religion. I don't hate any person. I may have disagreements, but we can still live peaceably together. Now, here's a wild report. Ukraine, this is the headline, Ukraine attempted to assassinate Tucker Carlson in Russia. This is, let's see, it's from the Revolver News. The animosity between Tucker Carlson and Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky is palatable, with both figures standing. Okay, this person's going to. If you want to read the article, it's in Revolver News. But recently, Tucker has made headlines with his trip to Moscow for an interview with Vladimir Putin. If you haven't saw that interview, and I know we probably should have covered it, probably should have been back a long time ago, but we're not. It's a good interview. He talks about a lot of things in that interview. And prior to all his videos, all the videos he's been running up until then has been dealing with Ukraine and Russia. He even covered the murdered American journalist Gonzo Lira. If you're just hearing that name for the first time, folks, you need to look him up. Now, a lot of the mainstream media sites, they're going to have all this bad thing. He's anti-Ukraine. He's all about... No, he moved to Ukraine. Yeah, he's an American, moved to Ukraine. Oh, well. Gonzo Lira, rest in peace, murdered by Ukraine, where the Azov Battalion is. Anyway, if you're ever on Twitter, there's a guy named Mario Nafal. He's huge on Twitter. He does a lot of spaces and different things. He wrote something earlier today that said Tucker Carlson assassination plot foiled. Russian forces reportedly arrested a man for a planned attack on Tucker, allegedly orchestrated by Ukraine's intelligence. The plot allegedly involved an IED targeting Carlson's vehicle at the Four Seasons Hotel. The suspect reportedly admitted to receiving $4,000 for the attack's execution after being caught. Interesting, folks. Interesting. They murder American journalists. They want to murder Tucker Carlson, an American, yet they want American money. Oh, yeah, but those guys are right-wingers. Would it be any different if they were left-wingers? And Russia was doing it? Right is right, wrong's wrong. If Russia was doing that with left-wingers, it's wrong. Equally to what this is. But nobody else said. Nobody will say that. No partisan will say that. This story's out of Britain. British banker Jacob Rothschild dies at 87. Also, Nikki Haley loses big in her home state, yet stays in the race. But you know who's cutting her off? The Koch brothers. The Koch brothers have cut her off. She is long gone. She held in too long. DeSantis knew, like, look, I still want to have a political career after this. I'm out. He knew. And he's a good dude. I think he's a good dude. Anyway, Haley, she is the biggest swamp dog of them all. What do they call them? Swamp rats, swamp dogs, something. She wants nothing but war. She wants to fund Ukraine, fund Israel, do all this, and war, and then talk trash against Trump, the leading Republican in the party right now. And stay in. For what? You have no path for victory. Oh, man, but what if Trump gets locked up? He's still running. Folks, it ain't like your local city council where if the person commits a felony, they're ineligible to run again. No, the Constitution's very clear on that. They can run from jail. Crazy. The whole thing's crazy. Like, they file all these 90-plus charges on Trump, and then Fani Willis is caught with a boyfriend, and she's paying him in cash. And, I mean, folks, our political system is corrupt. We need to step in and help fix it. You got to get started somewhere. Local level, man. That's where it's at. Start at the local level. Fix local, then move forward to state, then federal. We'll get them. or have a better organization where some are going local, some are going state, some are going federal, like the Republican Party. Okay, I move on. I digress. In rock news and out of the BBC, Patty Boyd reveals love triangle letters from George Harrison and Eric Clapton. I don't know. I like rock and roll. I might read that later. Check it out. All right. That's enough for the news. I'm going to come back Saturday. There's going to be a new podcast Saturday where we're going to dive into a little more detail of the news and how it impacts us. But I wanted to say, before I leave on this first broadcast of 2024, I wanted to say this. I'm running for the Greene County Republican Central Committee, District 93. I decided I want to be a part of the party to help get good candidates pushed forward in the local and the state level here. And I want to be a part of something that's good. And that's why I'm running. But I did an interview over at Ohio Election Forum. You can find them on Facebook, Ohio Election Forum. Lots of good interviews, lots of good discussion. Check it out. But I did an interview with them, and this is what I had to say.
Everybody watching out there, get in the game, because I know a lot of people that are watching this are good, hardcore conservatives. If we're not getting in the game, we're not working hard, we're going to lose this republic. I'm afraid we are. They're coming after our guns. They're coming after the right to life. Mm-hmm. They came after it, and they won because we're not working hard enough. And I don't want that to be a slight, but I want that to sting a little bit because we got to start working harder, myself included.
Well, you're leading, you're showing it, like Damon said, right? You're stepping up, you're doing that. And as far as Eric and I, hopefully we're in different districts, Eric. Otherwise,
that would be awesome if you guys were in the same.
I think the other thing on that point, though, Matt, like this is part of how to take it back. Right? It's not just, wearing a MAGA hat, right? It's taking back America is the grassroots taking it back, the conservative grassroots taking it back. And you said, hey, it's easy for this. You could be part of the county leadership. You just go and say, hey, I want to do this. And they sign you in, right? So the next time, it's too late for people now to get on the ballot for this election, but they can do it for the next time. It's very simple. And the other thing that I just want to mention, and I'll let Eric do a ramp up or final question, and we'll give you a moment. But there's Florida and there's Texas, and they're the examples of how it's not impossible to take it back. Now, I'm not going to say everything's perfect there. I'm not going to say, right? But you can tell from the type of legislation that gets passed in the legislatures and is passed by the governors of those states that something is way different than the Republican supermajority in Ohio, where there's still no medical freedom to be really talked about, fighting against the governor to protect children against, all this crazy new ideologies, let's put it that way.
Yeah. And why I'm running today is because I see our party beginning to fracture. And I don't like to see that. We had the Blue 22 incident. If everybody remembers, there were 22 Republicans who sided with the Democrats to elect the Speaker of the House, Jason Stevens. And there was one specific person that stood out to me because he was in my neck of the woods here in Montgomery County. Big power broker, Representative Phil Plummer. He calls himself a conservative. I supported him when he ran for sheriff. Well, it just so happened this term, coming around this election, he has endorsed a Democrat and a RINO to run for county commissioner in Montgomery County. The Democrat had just tried to switch over. She was a central committee member in the Democrat Party. And just this past November, she tried to switch over. Her name is Mary McDonald. She was the former mayor of Trotwood as a Democrat. Now she's running supposedly as a Republican. And Phil Plummer was very outspoken on the Blue 22 and then turned around and is endorsing Democrats and RINOs. The RINO is a councilwoman out of Huber Heights. That's my hometown where I was born and raised. And that councilwoman, her name's Kate Baker. And side story, she grew up with my sister, so I know her. She's a RINO through and through. There's things she said on the dais. I could go on. So there's all these little factions, and it's time, I believe, that we get back to integrity within the Republican Party. And I think there are many great Republicans out there working hard to do that. But you got to weed out some of these folks who are only in it to gain power. And I go back to saying that's the reason I funded my own campaign way back in 2015. That's the reason I fund this campaign. And there are basically, when I went up to the BOE to talk with them, there are no restrictions for me to fund stuff. So I've got mailers out there. I've got a few of these signs back here. I'm going to knock some doors and just let people know I'm a true conservative. I'm a Republican. I'm a veteran. If you want me to represent this district, send me over to the headquarters and let me represent this district and help get some real conservatives moving forward in Ohio. Especially Greene County. We need it. Greene County, guys, is the home of none other than Mike DeWine. I mean, he's a party leader. We have to get back to strong conservative values and getting strong conservative valued candidates running in Ohio.
All right. We're going to leave it here today, ladies and gentlemen. It's a short episode. We will be back Saturday, God willing, on Truman's Town Hall. Talk to you later.